Recording in progress.
Good afternoon, honorable members. I want to welcome all the members who have logged in to the virtual mini plenary session. There will now be an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. Thank you very much, honorable members. Before we proceed, I would like to remind you that the virtual mini plenary is deemed to be in the precinct of Parliament and constitute meeting of the National Assembly for debating purposes only. In addition to the rules of virtual sittings, the rules of the National Assembly, including the rules of the debate, shall apply. Members enjoy the same powers and privileges that apply in a sitting of the National Assembly. Members should equally note that anything said in the virtual platform is deemed to have been said to the House and may be ruled upon. All members who have logged in shall be considered to be present and are requested to mute their microphones and only unmute when recognized to speak. This is because the mics are very sensitive and will pick up noise which might disturb the attention of other members. When recognized to speak, please unmute your microphone and connect your video. Members may make use of the icons on the bar at the bottom of their screens, which has an option that allows a member to put up his or her hand to raise points of order. The Secretariat will assist in alerting the chairperson to members requesting to speak. When using the virtual system, members are urged to refrain or desist from unnecessary points of order or interjections. Honorable members, we shall now proceed to the order, which is a debate on Vote 36, Small Business Development Appropriation Bill. I will now invite the Minister of Small Businesses and Development, the Honorable Minister.
Honorable Chairperson, the Deputy Minister of Small Business Development, Mama Nokuzola Rose Kapa, Chairperson and Honorable members of the Portfolio Committee on Small Business Development, Honorable members of the National Assembly, Chairperson and board members of the Small Enterprise Development Agency, SEDA, the Chairperson and board members of the Small Enterprise Financing Agency, SIFA, the Director General of the Department of Small Business Development, Mr. Lindokuhle Mkhumane, CEOs of our entities, SEDA and SIFA, senior officials from the department and our entities, representatives of the organized business formations and other partner institutions, fellow entrepreneurs, ladies and gentlemen. On the 25th of May, 1963, 32 African leaders came together to form the Organization of African Unity. One of its objectives being to encourage political and economic integration among member states. 58 years later to the day, we honorable members of the National Assembly are debating Budget Vote 36 for the Department of Small Business Development. Today, as we celebrate Africa Day, we are encouraged because another aspiration of our continent's forebears for economic integration is on the verge of being realized through the coming into effect of the African Continental Free Trade Area, FCFTA, on the 1st of January, 2021. We celebrate this milestone and the commitment of the African leadership to forge ahead despite the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. We are fully aware that the goals of the AfCFTA and the African Union's Agenda 2063 of transformed economies and jobs will not be realized without the contribution of AU's individual member states to transform their own economies and create jobs. South Africa's path to economic transformation and job creation is guided by Vision 2030 as espoused in the National Development Plan. The NDP's central goals are expanding employment and entrepreneurial opportunities on the back of a growing and more inclusive economy. The naysayers will claim that COVID-19 pandemic has put paid to these goals. However, Sun Tzu has taught us that victory depends on conditions that are always in flux. For us, the COVID-19 has provided a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to ensure that by 2030, South Africa has a more diversified economy consisting of dynamic products and greater depth and breadth of domestic linkages. To achieve this, we will need to revert to what the architects of the NDP advocated for, being to intensify the simulation of local and foreign markets and strengthening conditions to promote labor-absorbing activities. To be specific on matters affecting small businesses, the NDP proposes that we must increase exports focusing on, amongst others, construction, mid-scale manufacturing, agriculture and agro-processing, tourism, and business services. It also encourages us to reduce costs of regulatory compliance, create a larger, more effective innovation system closely aligned with firms that operate in sectors consistent with the growth strategy, support for small businesses through better coordination of relevant agencies, development finance institutions, and the public and private incubators, strengthen financial services to bring down their cost and improve access for small and medium-sized businesses, and a commitment to public and private procurement approaches that stimulate domestic industry and job creation. And lastly, a labor market that is more responsive to economic opportunity that requires, amongst others, the review of regulations and standards for small and medium enterprises. Of course, the architects of the NDP could not have anticipated a global pandemic which fast-tracked the advent of the fourth industrial revolution. As a government, we had to respond to the emerging constraints and adopted the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan, ERRP, to ensure that South Africa's economy is rebuilt to achieve both recovery and inclusivity. Honorable Chairperson, allow me to table the budget vote 36 of the Department of Small Business Development for the 2021-2022 financial year and the medium-term expenditure framework estimates. The deployment of this budget will be used towards achieving the goals of the NDP Vision 2030 and the AU's Agenda 2063, guided by the ERRP. In terms of the budget for the 2021-2022 financial year, the department is allocated 2.5 billion rands for its work. And for that, the administration will have 116.3 million, and sector and market development will have 138.8 million, and development finance will have 1.3 billion, and enterprise development will have 902.3 million. And for the MTF total estimates, the department would have gotten an allocation of 7.6 billion rands. This budget, in terms of classification and compensation of employees, gets a budget of 152.4 million, which constitutes 6% of the total budget. Goods and services constitutes 81.6 million, which constitute 3.2% of the total budget. Transfers and subsidies constitute 2.2 billion, which constitutes 90.6% of our total budget. And payments for capital assets constitute 4.4 million, and it makes a total of 2.5 billion. Honorable members, we are tabling this budget for debate exactly 5 days before we mark the second year since the appointment of the National Executive by the State President, His Excellency Mr. Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, on the 30th of May 2019. We are actually tabling this debate, we are holding this debate on the very day that our State President was inaugurated on the 25th of May 2019. I will therefore take this opportunity to report back on the progress we are making to achieve the program we adopted in 2019, albeit it had to be adjusted and enhanced to respond to material conditions. On several occasions, we We have come to this house to report on how we have intervened to assist SMMEs at the height of the COVID-19 hard lockdown. The House has received a report from the Auditor General on the performance of our department on COVID-19 relief measures, and we had the pleasure of hosting the President when he publicly interacted virtually with the beneficiaries of our COVID-19 relief interventions. This budget allocates 868 million of the transfers and subsidies to the Small Enterprise Development Agency. Of this, 666 million is allocated for the strengthening and expansion of the SEDA's presence across the country with a goal of maintaining a SEDA office in each district of our country. The enterprise development work of SEDA is the front line of our services to SMMEs, including cooperatives. Through the SEDA network of branches, the department assists SMMEs and cooperatives to, 1, comply with regulatory requirements that thus reducing the cost thereof, and 2, creating a labor market that is more responsive to economic opportunity that requires, amongst others, the review of regulations and standards for small and medium enterprises. In addition, since we took the decision to access to support must not be determined by the ability to complete application forms, SEDA has been assisting entrepreneurs to complete various applications, including business registrations with CIPC, SARS, and UIF. Since 2019, a total of 70,512 entrepreneurs have visited SEDA offices for some form of support. SEDA offices also serve as a one-stop information center on business information to our entrepreneurs. Ladies and gentlemen, the work of the department and its agencies is structured and coordinated under the SMME support plan towards the attainment of Vision 2030 that was adopted in 2019. These plans consist of 10 programs, namely the SMME Focused Localization Program, which is enabled through the Small Enterprise Manufacturing Support Program, SEMSP, Township and Rural Entrepreneurship Program, TREP, Incubation and Digital Hubs Rollout, Startup Nation, Young Entrepreneur Support, She Trades ZA, SMME Business Infrastructure Support, Cooperative Support, SMME Scale Up or Expansion, and Informal Business Support. To continue implementing the SMME support plan, 157 million of the transfers and subsidies to SEDA is allocated to SEDA Technology Program. And through the technology program, SEDA is responsible for 4 programs of the SMME support plan, which are the Incubation and Digital Hubs Rollout, Startup Nation, Product Standard and Standard Conformity as part of the localization program, and technology transfer as part of the incubation and digital technologies. Under incubation and digital hubs, the department has set itself a target to establish 215 incubation and digital hubs by 2024. To date, 101 incubators have been established on the sector against the set target of 96, which include 22 centers for entrepreneurship and rapid incubations, commonly known as CEFRIS, in the TVET colleges and universities, including an additional 4 centers at the University of Johannesburg, Soweto campus, Rose University, Makanda campus, Nelson Mandela University, Berwa campus, and University of Venda Thando campus. Some of the CEFRIS at TVET colleges include those in the Northern Cape, Rural TVET at DR and Katu campuses, Maluti TVET College, Putadichaba campus, West Coast TVET College, and Vredendal campus, the new SID TVET College in Umzimkulu campus. A full list of the CEFRIS is available at the DSBD and SEDA websites. SEDA will also facilitate the establishment of an additional 22 incubators, mainly in townships and rural areas. The new incubators will assist with the establishment of approximately 1,290 new enterprises that are expected to create at least 25,000 new jobs. Some of the areas that the additional incubators are planned for are underserviced provinces and districts aligned to the department SMME support plan, including the districts of Sarabatman, Joe Dabi, Fezle Dabi, Karib, Sidibeng, West Rand, Amajuba, Ilembe, Umgungundlovu, Mupani, Waterberg, Nkangala, Namakwa, Pixlika Seme, Dr. KK Kaunda, the Central Karoo, and Overberg. The already existing 79 incubators have assisted SMMEs to sustain 86,000 jobs within the SMME ecosystem partners. Some of these existing incubators include those located in Amatole District Municipality, Ekurhuleni Metro Municipality, King Cetshwayo District Municipality, eThekwini Metro Municipality, OR Tambo, Herigwala, and Hlanzeni District Municipality. The existing incubator footprint covers most districts in South Africa and is the biggest in Africa. Having said that, more work will be done in partnership with the private sector. The full list of the location of the incubators is available at the DSBD and SEDA websites. Furthermore, 4 digital hubs were established, and the remaining 2 hubs will be completed in the second and third quarters of the 2021-2022 financial year. The completed hubs are located in Mpumalanga, Mbombela, and Khatsibande, Mafikeng and Botshabelo, Mafikeng in Northwest and Botshabelo in the Free State. In line with the goal of the NDP of supporting small businesses through better coordination of public and private incubators, amongst others, the department has recently established a partnership with NSPAS, labs, and foundry programs with a purpose of optimizing resources for the deployment of digital hubs and support for startups. The NSPAS partnership is already operational to complete the Alexander Johannesburg hub. In addition, the department through SEDA has also partnered with other private incubators, such as the Black Umbrellas networks of 7 incubators, 1 BioLife Science incubator in Cape Town, and the Propeller incubator in the Eastern Cape. On the Startup Nation program, honorable members, by 2030, ICT and digital sector will underpin the development of a dynamic and connected information society and a vibrant economy that is more inclusive and prosperous. A seamless information infrastructure will be universally available, accessible, and will meet the needs of citizens, businesses, and the public sector. This will provide access to the creation and consumption of a wide range of converged services required for effective economic and social participation at a cost and quality at least equal to South Africa's main peers and competitors. ICT will reduce spatial exclusion, enabling seamless participation by the majority in the global ICT system, not simply as users, but as content developers and application innovators. That is from the Vision 2030 of the NDP. In relation to the aspirations of the NDP and the pronouncement by His Excellency President Mastamele Cyril Ramaphosa in his State of the Nation address in 2021, my department will in the next few months finalize the National Startup Nations Framework that will guide government's support to technology and high growth startups for rapid scale up in local and African markets. Our work will endeavor to better support grassroots innovators and small digital businesses that can compete locally, regionally, and international markets while remaining locally relevant. The Investor Support Instruments will render support to young startups and innovators, providing infrastructure, industry collaborations, enterprise supply development linkages, access to funding and risk capital at pre-seed, seed, series A and B stage, and investor linkages, build strong firm-level teams, revenue or paths to revenue, high-touch mentoring and coaching aimed at building strong leadership, disruptive business models, and scalable businesses poised for rapid growth. In addition, the Technology Transfer and Technical Assistance Program under SEDA is one of 3 technology platforms that we are implementing. The program provided a set of technical and innovation support intervention as like on open innovation challenges, solving core supply chain and supply development challenges of large private and public corporates by working with the nationwide SEDA network of branches and business incubators to source innovative SMMEs with specific skills, products, and services that are able to pitch novel solutions to the challenges, thus improving access to market. SMME innovation forums, which is sector-specific multi-stakeholder events sharing entrepreneurial knowledge and skills for SMMEs, facilitating introduction to latest sector innovations, appropriate technology and intellectual property, with stimulating peer networking and forming the productive partnerships. Engagements with universities, research institutions, design and innovation centers, science councils for knowledge sharing on relevant technology and intellectual property to upscale production. Some examples of sector forums held include Industry 4.0, cosmeceuticals, automotive, textiles, construction, agro-processing seminars. Investor pitching, which is closing the gap between entrepreneurs and investors, arranging nationwide pitching competitions with judging panels of funders together with entrepreneurial pitching masterclasses. And this we have also partnered with the NSPAS Foundry program to advance this. And we are supporting innovative SMMEs to present their business cases more effectively, thus improving access to finance for SMMEs and impactful deal flow for investors. Examples of funders and investors and investor criteria include CIFA, the Fin Fund. I've already mentioned the founder program of the NSPAS. The technology and skills transfer, which it focuses on intellectual property support, which is training, first stage IP registration and licensing, lean manufacturing systems, product and process technology innovations, which it deals with equipment and machines, design software, ERP system, and productivity improvement, benchmarking workplace organizations, and quality health checks and management systems, and product testing to promote access for SMMEs to accredited laboratory testing and conformity certification of their products to national standards, product labeling, and compulsory regulations. Examples include food, beverages, construction materials, chemicals, clothing, and cosmetics. And we also assist with product design, which focus on improving product and packaging design for SMMEs through design thinking workshops, design clinics for product-specific advice, and design support to improve product and packaging functionality and aesthetics. The Technology Transfer Assistance Program is supporting 44 clients and has approved support for an additional 79 clients. The Quality and Conformity Assessment Program has supported 53 SMMEs with quality management service interventions and 63 SMMEs with product testing and certification support. This budget allocates an additional amount of 1.25 billion of the transfers and subsidies to SIFA for purposes of implementing the small enterprise manufacturing programs to enable SMME-focused localization, township and rural entrepreneurship program, TREP, and SMME financial intermediary support as direct lenders to SMMEs and cooperatives, and part of our contribution to the transformation of the financial services sector. On the SMME enterprise manufacturing program, Honorable Chairperson, I would like to take this opportunity to reiterate that the localization program is not negotiable. I want to clarify that the program was not thumbs-sucked as some who want to protect the participation of the few in the economy were suggesting just a few days ago. The program was also proposed by Business for South Africa in their submissions on the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan. And therefore, there is a social compact between government, business, labor, and communities through the NEDLEC on it. In addition, the 1,000 products that we have earmarked for SMME-focused localization and prioritized for support under the Small Enterprise Manufacturing Support Program, SEMSP, equally was developed and compiled from the list submitted by large retailers and manufacturers such as Pick n Pay, Spar, Dis-Chem, Clicks, Unilever, Massmart, Aspen, and others. Furthermore, in line with the proposal of the NDP to commit to public and private procurement approaches that stimulate domestic industry and job creation, the ERRP has prioritized the finalization of the procurement bill through the National Treasury. In this regard, the department is finalizing, in consultation with provinces, the selection of 250 out of the 1,000 products that must be designated over a 4-year period for public procurement. We propose the designation of these products, the 1,000 products, through the DTIC over a 4 to 5 year period, because we are fully aware of the need to build local capacity for quantity, quality, and price competitiveness. 268 million of the SIFA allocation is to the SEMSP, and in this regard, and through the SEMSP, we have already supported a total of 15 enterprises to the value of 125 million out of the 33 enterprises that were approved to the value of 230 million. We remain appreciative of the partnership of the Black Industrialist Program under the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition, who have partnered us to make sure the Small Enterprise Manufacturing Support Program comes to life. Some of the enterprise supported include Sake Engineering and Manufacturing, which is a 100% Black youth-owned business, which is based in East London. The business is owned by Mr. Kaya Madiba, who's 35 years old, who is a qualified structural engineer, who holds a master's in engineering, and the business is involved in the design, manufacturing, and automation of machines and steel fabrication. Through the funding, we provided a loan of 12.4 million, and he was able to create 30 jobs in the sector as part of this critical work that we are doing. We have also supported Mahikeng Meat Market, which is a Black youth-owned and managed by Mr. Ramwe Nyane from Mahikeng. And it was established with the sole purpose of operating a red meat processing plant in Mahikeng that will provide red meat products to organizations in and around Mahikeng. The company was funded as a startup with funding of 4.4 million in order to renovate premises, set up plant, acquire delivery vehicles, and obtain relevant certification. We have also supported Christo and Nani Trading, also a 100% Black youth-owned company, which manufactures bricks and supply building materials and energy products. Jobo Trading, Sisin, Wanato Services, which focuses on road signs manufacturing, and it was initially a civil construction company and divested to go and do road construction, and is owned by Mrs. Ladla, who manufactures road sign, which is something she knows very well, and she is from KZN, and she has maintained 21 jobs through our intervention of 4.9 million. We've supported Integrate now, which is a 100% Blake-owned company, owned by Mr. Vincent Mabunda in Limpopo, and they manufacture and provide wholesale bulk roof sheets to hardware stores around Nkokowa in Limpopo and surrounding areas. They received a loan of 4.8 million rands. And this funding was requested to include blended finance, a portion which was a grant and a portion which was a loan. And it was for startup metal roof sheeting manufacturing. And Mighty Meat, which is involved in the production and manufacturing of processed meat products. This includes Polonies, Russians, and Viennas. The business currently has an average monthly production rate of 1,000 metric tons of finished product, with available capacity to manufacture in excess of 2,000 metric tons per month of finished products. It employs staff of 114 staff members. We've also supported Matase Industrial Solutions, elevate them to the mainstream economy and to further integrate opportunities in the township and rural areas into competitive business ventures. Some of the township and rural enterprises, such as taxis, spaza shops, motor mechanics, panel beaters, hair and beauty salons, and others, have for time immemorial contributed to the economy of South Africa without being duly accounted for in the statistical records at the economic level, but at a household level, thus minimizing the contribution of townships and rural enterprises into the economy by only accounting for them as consumers. We have set aside 694 million for SIFA to support TREP. To date, and under the TREP, the department and its agencies have supported township and rural enterprises as follows: auto body repairers and mechanic program, which is allocated 300 million rands. We are targeting 800 motor mechanics, panel beaters, auto fitment centers in townships and rural areas. And a total of 950 entities were supported through this program. One of those supporters is Auto Precision Engineering, which is a 100% youth-owned business. And this business operates mechanical engineering, focusing on overhaul, skimming, and reboring of engines for taxi industry and informal business mechanics in Gugulethu in the Western Cape. And we also have the Spaza Shop Support Program, which supports a cash flow facility in the form of credit guarantee administered via commercial banks such as Nedbank and Standard Bank that enables South African Spaza shop owners with a valid operating permit to buy stock at accredited wholesalers. We are finalizing collaboration with Izaka Bank on the same scheme as part of contributing towards the transformation of financial services sector and actively supporting the acquisition of clients by emerging Black-owned businesses. We have set a budget of 150 million allocated to support 15,000 entities. Last year, we've supported 10,305 Spaza shop against a target of 10,000 in SMMEs. We are also commencing the second phase of our Spaza shop support program, which is going to entail increasing the threshold of our support to the Spazas, also availing banking accounts at low cost to the participants, distributing point of sales machine to all approved Spaza shops in order to improve bankability and financial support, and to also facilitate them to become points of sales and introduce value-added services. We have also supported the small scale and confectionaries and other related schemes. On access to market, in the 2020-21 financial year, we've reported on the work the department has been doing to support manufacturing SMMEs to place their products in large corporate markets. We had targeted a list of 200 products with the private sector markets, and a total of 238 products across 6 product categories were listed in food and beverages, beauty, skincare, cosmetics, cleaning and hygiene, healthcare, pharmaceuticals, and clothing and textiles. Chairperson, we are proud to announce that in the list of listed products, we've added Sihle's Brew, which is owned by Mr. Sihle Magubane from KwaZulu-Natal, who manufactures coffee. After a decade of experience in the field, Mr. Sihle Magubane has developed or produces his own coffee brand, which offers 5 signature blends for decaf, espresso, and you will find the Sihles brew in your local Pick and Pay shelves, and they started on the 1st of March, and they are also in food lovers markets. We are also proud to announce that Demicel Cosmetics and Healthcare of Miss Mapi Zita Lana, that produces Aluferox-based skincare range, has been launched in 81 Click stores across the country. We continue to aggressively run our Buy Local campaign in partnership with Proudly South Africa and call on South Africans to choose wisely and buy local products made in South Africa because it contributes to job creation, economic growth. Buying locally produced goods is an act of self-service, Chairperson. Chairperson, we are also announcing that we have commenced our work as announced by the president of the She Trades platform that support and prepare women-owned enterprises to increase their participation in local, regional, and global value chain. The platform targets to support majority women-owned businesses in their agro-processing, manufacturing, renewable energy, clothing and textile, cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, retail and wholesale, logistics and payment system. In this financial year, we are targeting to support at least 2,000 women-owned enterprises to participate in supply value chains through the She Trades platform. The Deputy Minister will articulate the work we have and continue to do under our cooperative support and informal business support. We have also finalized a draft which will publish at a policy level of the SMME and cooperatives funding policy for South Africa, which seeks to make proposals on the coordination of SMME funding across the public and private sector. We'll publish it for comments after we have consulted with Cabinet. We have finalized our
Minister.
Lastly, Chairperson, through our work, we are committed to ensure that the next development plan of South Africa commits itself to a number of millionaires and billionaires the country must nurture for a true economic transformation.
Minister, let me just say that I'm going to take 2 minutes from your minutes that are left. I realized you had to finish, so I used that discretion. Thank you very much. We proceed now and invite the beautiful African lady, Honorable Suela, the chairperson of the committee, to take us through and also say that Happy Africa Day to all of us. Ramoni Uministara, she represented, and there follows the chairperson. She's also representing. Happy Africa Day for everybody on the platform. Thank you very much.
Inkomu mutshami wa xitulu, inkomu ka vachaviseki va palamende, inkomu ka vaendzi va hina hinkwavo na my fellow South Africans. Happy Africa Day, Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, as the ANC, we support the budget vote 36 of the Department of Small Business Development. Allow me, Chairperson, to join my comrades in paying homage to the combatant and heroine of the freedom struggle, a proud member of the African National Congress, Ms. Charlotte Maxeke, who will be celebrating 150 years this year. We remain indebted and grateful of the role she played in our struggle for emancipation. We are called to replicate her fortitude and farsightedness to fundamentally transform and build inclusive economy. As we gather here today, let me further take this opportunity to recognize and affirm all women, youth, and people living with disabilities who continue to bear the brunt of exclusion and hostile economic environment that perpetuates poverty, inequality, and unemployment. As the African National Congress, we recognize the immense difficulties faced by these marginalized groups in our country as a result of the past injustice which occurred on the basis of race, class, and gender. However, we also see enormous and potential opportunities on the role of the Department of Small Business Development in supporting small businesses, cooperatives, and informal traders. Indeed, Chairperson, small business sectors is one of the critical segments in our society that has really prospect of unlocking South Africa's economy. The role of the Department of Small Business Development is to ensure that an inclusive economy as envisioned by the ANC is being built. In doing so, Chair, the ANC aims to elevate poverty and inequality, which is concentrated within townships, rural areas, and marginalized communities. Ha khensa eka ndhunankulu ya department leyi loko a swi vona swi fanerile ku teka goza ra ku meka sure ku na lava le matikoxikaya va tekeriwa enhlokweni eka timhaka ta swa vukorhokeri bya xaximali. Swa hi tsakisa hi ri komiti. South Africans, in their majority, look to today's budget vote 36 by the Minister of Small Business Development to inject hope and confidence in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Honorable members, they will find much in the work of the Department of Small Business Development to give them that hope. The Portfolio Committee on Small Business Development adopted the 2021-22 budget vote 36 of the Department of Small Business Development, which it oversees. This budget allocation allows the Department of Small Business Development to continue to carry out its mandate. The allocated budget for the department of 2.5 billion in 2021-22 is in support of operations of the department, incentives, and transfers to its entities. In its oversight of the Department of Small Business Development, the committee oversees the mandate of the department to lead and coordinate an integrated approach to the promotion and development of entrepreneurship, small businesses, and cooperatives, and ensure and enable legislative and policy environment to support their growth and sustainability. Hakensa, kuna policy leyi lavaka ku endliwa, the funding policy, hi yo yi nga ta pfuna, yi nga ta hakulula xirhalanganyi lexi nga kona. Hi ku nkinga leyi nga kona i swa ximali. During this engagement with the Department of Small Business Development, the committee learned how the department in the 2021-22 financial year plans to do more with its budget by coordinating activities of the department and using non-financial resources to achieve its mandate within the limited resources at its disposal. It has managed to develop initiatives that seek to address the main challenges of our country, which are economic growth and unemployment, by supporting an array of small businesses. On the 21st October 2020, the President of our country, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, in this House presented the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan, a plan to build a new economy, an exclusive economy, a growing economy, jobs creating economy. Presenting the plan, the President stated, open quote, "We must work together to build this new inclusive economy and to build a South Africa that works," close quote. Over the past few months, since the introduction of the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan in this Parliament, the Portfolio Committee on Small Business Development has played its oversight role on the implementation of this plan by the Department of Small Business Development and its entity. In support of the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan, the Small Enterprise Development Agency, which is SEDA, and the Small Enterprise Finance Agency, which is SEFA, drew up interventions plans aimed at supporting entrepreneurship and SME development in township and rural communities. The intervention include facilitating, among others, access to finance, developing innovative and tailored financing solutions that respond to the needs of the various segments of the township entrepreneurs, access to non-financial and technical business support, access to markets, investment in township markets that can serve as an outlet for local produced products, and linking township entrepreneurs to cooperate and differentiate a value chain. Hakensa hi ku loko a karhi a vulavula ndhunankulu u vulavula hi 79 ya ti-incubators lani hi vonaka ku ti ta empowera vantshwa va hina ngopfungopfu lava va nga ti-graduate. Se loko a swo qhuveka ti ngeteleriwa a swi ta koteka leswaku support liya ya non-financial yi va yi khumba etindhawu to tala hi ku nkingha leyi nga koho i mhaka ya staff na visibility ya ti-entities ta hina. However, the committee is satisfied with the progress that the department and its entities have made in implementing their interventions to achieve economic reconstruction and recovery. The committee further encouraged that the Department of Small Business Development, through its 2.5 billion allocated budget, continues to prioritize the economic reconstruction and recovery plan in the 2021-22 financial year. In addition, the committee supports the efforts of the Department of Small Business Development to maximize its budget, doing more with less given the physical constraint in the country by leveraging non-financial tools and its development finance institution balance sheet to support particularly those in rural and township economies. As the portfolio committee, we stress upon the department when executing its mandate to prioritize township and rural-based entrepreneurship owned by women, youth, and people living with disabilities. However, Chair, we are sure the Department of Small Business Development is changing the lives of ordinary South Africans previously had no hope or chance to owning any businesses. In this regard, Chairperson, the African National Congress support the 2021-22 budget vote 36 of the Department of Small Business Development, as it will be an enabler to exclusive economic growth and job creation, which is invested by the economic reconstruction and recovery plan. Leswi hi tsakisaka mutshami wa xitulu I ku la ka timhaka leti va ta pfuniwa va swan'wamabindzu lavatsongo na hi ti-grant na hi loan hi ntsengo hi mpimo wa le hansi wa 5%. Sweswo swa hi tsakisa. Va ta pfuniwa hi swa swiphasa shop, va ku rhunga swa swikhumba, va tirhoko, va ku rhunga ti-comforter, va ku rhunga masofa, va ku rhunga mibedo, va ku baka swinkwa na magwinya, va ti-saluni, va min'wala, hinkwavo va ta kota ku pfuneka, na va makhinika va hina lava hluphekaka va tirhaka xitaratini ehansi ka misinya, na va tibuchara va chisa nyama be va ta swi kuma swi te khekhe. Se ha tsaka na n'we va ku sweka na n'we va timaketa mi tekeriwanga hansi mi ta pfuneka le ka mhaka leyi. Lexi xi kombelaka eka ndhunankulu ku a vulavula na vamasipala wa hina va pfuna vanhu va hina hi ku va nyika etiphemiti va ta kota ku accessa timali. Se mitirho na yoho yi to khege, ndlala na yo yi to bi, vusiwana na byona byi to papaya. High cancer department le high cancer na ndhunankulu, high cancer na ANC. Hi ri African National Congress, we support this budget vote ya vote 36. Inkomo mutshami wa xitulu na cancer. Happy Africa Day again.
Can I now call on the following speaker, Honorable, over to you, Honorable. Honorable de Villiers from the DA.
Thank you, Chairperson. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you, Chairperson. Happy Africa Day to you, yourself and everybody on the platform. Chairperson, at the beginning of this year, we all sat down and once again listened to President Ramaphosa talk about the importance of accelerating our economic recovery, implementing economic reforms, creating sustainable jobs, and driving inclusive growth. The President talks about small business development as an important trigger of economic regeneration. But the persistent budget cuts to the Department of Small Business Development tells a different tale. The President talks about the 513 million rand that has been provided for small business support. But the reality is that of the 14,800 small business owners that applied for business aid, only 1,497 were successful. That's a little over 10% of the applicants. Chairperson, this means that only 61% of the funds that was allocated towards helping small business were actually spent. So while the ANC talks about helping small business, they just don't get it done. So small business cannot help grow the economy and create new jobs if the government cannot create the climate for them to thrive in. Small business, above all else, need the state to work. They need stable electricity. They need safe neighborhoods. They need an investment-friendly economic climate. They need professional government employees who are fit for purpose, qualified and motivated to get the state working, and not unqualified cadres sent to loot the state coffers. Chairperson, when the state doesn't get these basic things done, small business struggles to get business done. Chairperson, it's no coincidence that the expanded unemployment rate now sits at over 42%. It's because while the ANC talks about jobs, they don't get anything done. And when they talk about keeping the lights on, it just keeps getting darker. When the ANC talks about fighting gender-based violence and keeping South Africans safe, they rather focus on writing laws they want to so that they can take the guns out of the hands of law-abiding South Africans whose last line of defense is owning their own weapons. Chairperson, while the President talks about the importance of small business development, the department is not even important enough to have its own minister, as Minister Nsaveni is not only Minister of Small Business Development, but now also of the Presidency. So how important can small business development really be if we don't even have a dedicated minister? The ANC talks about getting things done, but we all know they never do. They don't get things done. Chairperson, can you guess who runs the top 5 municipalities in South Africa? It's the DA, of course, because where we govern, we get things done. The DA understands that what small business needs to develop is services that work. In our DA-run governments, our small businesses can drive on roads without potholes. They can depend on streetlights and on traffic robots that work. They have access to reliable drinking water from taps that work. They receive regular refuse removal, and they pay rates and taxes to municipalities who don't steal that money, but rather use it to develop and maintain the town or the city. The DA understands that when we get things done, small business can get things done. And you have to look no further than the DA-run city of Cape Town to see what happens when a government gets things done. Cape Town is home to many successful startups, such as Aerobotics, SweepSelf, and Yoko, and it was named the 3rd most ambitious city in the world by the Global Ambition Index. The Cape Innovation and Technology Initiative has supported over 3,000 entrepreneurs over 2 decades. Just in 2020, Cape Town recorded 1.2 billion rand worth of venture capital investment into the tech sector, spanning over 46 deals. Cape Town has over 550 operating tech firms that employ more than 40,000 people in the development industry and host 38% of the total number of developers in the country. Together with the Department of Enterprise and Investment, in 2020, the City of Cape Town facilitated 11.27 billion rand worth of investments, creating more than 7,500 jobs and training over 1,300 people. This is not a coincidence. It's not something in the Cape Town water, but rather how Cape Town is running the water and the reliable roads and the reliable municipal services. Because Cape Town proves that the DA understands that for small business to get things done, we need to get things done. In October, millions of voters will again be going to voting stations. They have 3 simple choices. They can waste their vote on a governing party who for 27 years have not been able to get things done. Or they can vote for a smaller party who have never done anything. Or they can vote for a party who has an established track record of getting things done. This year, if voters want to live in a municipality that gets things done, they must vote DA. because when we get things done, small business gets things done. And when small business gets things done, the economy starts working. And when the economy starts working, people get jobs. Chairperson, on 27 October, if voters want to get things done, they need to vote for the party that gets things done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The chairperson is back. I'll hand over after calling Honorable Matulelwa from the EFF. Honorable Matulelwa from the EFF. Honorable Matulelwa.
Enkosi Sihlalo ndibulise ku-Commander in Chief uCIC Julius Malema naso sonke isikhokelo se-EFF. The EFF rejects the proposed budget for the Department of Small Business Development. The department is tarnished with corruption and mismanagement of monies that small businesses all over the country were desperate to receive during COVID-19. Small businesses closed down while the department has preoccupied with PR exercise that benefited comrades and family members linked to the minister. The minister has been preoccupied with PR exercise so much that we think she is starting to believe her own misinformation campaign. When we conducted an oversight in the Eastern Cape in Alfred Nzo region, small businesses are crying because according to the minister's database, these small businesses have received monies, but according to them, they never received a cent. Mfesande from Mount Frey is just one of many businesses that affected with misfortune of corruption. And there are many more small businesses. Small-scale farmers in Hazyview and pig farmers in Gamhlushwa, in Komazi, continue to knock on the door of the department without any help. Small businesses such as Carino in Bombela are just but few of many businesses. We have asked the minister urgently to intervene to assist. We are not surprised by this mismanagement of taxpayers' monies meant for small businesses. As the EFF, we were the first to warn small businesses that the creation of this department was not to help them. The department was created without a strategy and a clear link to the country's industrial strategy. But we are also not surprised because the country does not have any industrial strategy. There was no need for a separate department of small business development because the minute it was separated from the Department of Trade and Industry, it meant that small businesses are not recognized as an important role player in the industrial space. Experience everywhere in the world that small businesses development is not accidental or a space that youth fall back on when they are unemployed. Small business development is part and a parcel of countries' strategies to benefit from upstream and downstream sectors of many big industries. We should have hundreds of small businesses participating in the mining sector. We should have hundreds of small businesses participating in the agro-processing sector. We should have hundreds of small businesses participating in the manufacturing of motor cars. Our small businesses should be producing car seats and finishing if state-owned companies like Dinel were manufacturing these motor cars. The 2 or 3 small businesses that the minister find and advertise as the success story of South Africa small business development is nothing but a distraction. Chairperson, unemployment in South Africa is rife because townships do not have economic activities. If you do not listen to the guidance and the wisdom of the EFF in many proposals that we have made in the past, please take this one guidance. 10 all townships from Soweto, Alexander in Gauteng, Umlazi in KwaZulu-Natal, Guguletu and Langa in the Western Cape, and all other townships into special industrial zones. Invest to all those who want to invest into small businesses development and give them subsidies to build factories that manufacture local products and make these areas a tax-free zone. Amend the PMFA to make it compulsory for the government department and state-owned companies to procure from local manufacturers classified as a small business. Lastly, because we know that there is a permanent obsession with PR, some of these things we will do ourselves, and we have begun to do already. We have already started to take out the taxi owners, ekubanjweni ngobhongwane ngu-taxi finance, kunye no-Toyota wase-Japan, back to its rightful owners, and we will continue to do so. We are assisting small businesses for formalizing their trade to access financial support. Not only government. The future of small businesses development is in localization and manufacturing and access to markets. When we say build shelves space, people think we're calling for more malls. South Africa doesn't need more malls. South Africa needs more manufacturing to link production with job creation, increase of wage and consumption with the capacity of export to other markets. But we are aware that the like Spar, Checkers, and Pick and Pay do not want to prioritize local products. We must create alternative shelf space that will serve local products at local markets. A market is not a mall. Create accessible market and stop obsession with public relations. I thank you.
Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, ma'am. I was saying thank you very much for coming to my rescue. I had some network issues, and it is persisting, but I hope we will proceed. As I call on the IFP, Babul Chuli from the IFP. Oh,
thank you, Honorable Chairperson. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused one of the worst recessions in Africa in more than half a century. South Africa has not been exempted. Our GDP growth in 2020 has been negatively affected, and the impact has been devastated for bigger industries and even harsher for small to medium enterprises in the country. It is in this big environment that we meet today. Prior to the pandemic, small business already had challenges. The most common included constraint in accessing fund and businesses network exacerbated by the absence of the adequate business infrastructure and human resources. The COVID-19 pandemic, therefore, heightened already existing problems. Whilst there have been a program to deal with these challenges, they have not been adequate. The IFP acknowledges the effort by the department to improve justice for small businesses through the establishment of the Small Enterprise Ombud Service. Through this National Small Enterprise Amendment Bill of 2020, it is our hope that this bill will promote fair trading practices and create a conducive environment for the small business through strive. We also appreciate the support extended to the businesses during the pandemic period through a various debt relief program. However, the stringent qualification and the application processes of the debt relief scheme availed during the pandemic result in some SMMEs being left out. Faced with this decreasing, a lack of access to the relief fund and inability to settle existing debt, we saw the closure of a significant portion of the small businesses and in the end of 2020. We are hoping that lesson will be drawn from the method using the rollout these relief packages and provide insight for the better future interventions. We also note with the concern the performance indicators for the SMMEs reportedly in the small business enterprises budget. The number of Black-owned SMEs under the Black Business Support Development Program grew marginally between 2016 and 2017, and 2019 and 2020, whilst the reduction were not for the number of the informal enterprises finally assisted through the National Informal Business Uplifting Scheme. It is our hope that these figures can improve, not accommodated more small businesses. We are aware of this crucial role played by the small business in our economy. In 2019, annual financial statistics report shows that of the 10.5 trillion total turnover in the 2019 financial year, 2.3 trillion came from the small business. It is also encouraged to note that the contribution of the small business to the total turnover has also been improving over the years from 16% to 22% between 2013 and 2019, according to the report Statistics South Africa. Whilst this is a position gain, more can be done to promote the performance of the SMEs. I support the budget. I support the budget.
Mhlonisho. Thank you very much, Mflonisho. Siyaqhubeka manje, then we invite the Honorable Deputy Minister of Small Business and Development. We have FF Plus, where we call on the Honorable Vessels.
Thank you,
F+,
Honourable
my
House
apology.
Chairperson. Honourable House Chair, the ANC government has failed and has destroyed small businesses. But let me rather put it like this: they have tried their utmost best to destroy small businesses. Because luckily, there is in South Africa a culture of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs that succeed against all odds, that succeed despite government, not because of government. Government has failed to provide the actual necessities for the economy to be stimulated. The minister mentions certain success stories of SMMEs, but she fails to mention the thousands of small businesses that have failed because of government's insufficiencies. No business, Chairperson, can succeed if there is no basic service delivery, when there's uncertainty, when there's bureaucracy, incompetency by government officials, and unnecessary red tape. When a business has to wait more than a year to obtain a simple permit, has to wait more than a year for a health inspector to visit the premises, has to wait for a trading permit, or even for something as simple as applying for a motor vehicle license, can't do that because of the closure of these license offices and testing stations. This is destroying our businesses. This department is completely unnecessary. This department should not exist. This funding should be reprioritized to improve our infrastructure rather. Because how can a business operate when there's no constant or reliable water supply? When a small business can't actually say that tomorrow the lights will be on or there will be electricity supply? When there's load shedding, or even in certain towns, such as Bethel in Mpumalanga, the municipality installs its own load shedding due to non-payment to Eskom. Those businesses can't function. Small towns in the Free State who for more than 3 years do not have constant water supply. How can those businesses function? How can a small vendor actually reliably do business when he can't transport his produce from a market to where he sells his goods because of the state of our roads? How can a business succeed if there is no certainty? Certainty that will cause investments but are now detrimental to investors because of policy uncertainty, such as uncertainty with regards to property rights. The department completely failed to support businesses in the dire circumstances caused by the pandemic and the lockdown. They completely failed. The minister talks about localization, but government itself does not procure local goods. Government entities and government departments does not procure local goods. They don't even, for the ministers, procure locally produced vehicles. Why not? Start there. Talk is cheap. The uncertainty caused by this government is completely ruining the economy. The fact that basic service delivery is not taking place is ruining small businesses. You can apply for a business license and that might be easy, but applying for everything that comes with it gets more and more difficult. Black economic empowerment, Chairperson, has failed. It has failed Black-owned enterprises, it has failed South Africa, and it has only benefited a select few. Affirmative action has failed, and all these restrictive legislation makes it more difficult for small businesses to actually do business. Leave this department, prioritize infrastructure, prioritize basic service delivery. But the ANC government can't. And that is why there is an opportunity for South Africans to vote in October and get more responsible local government so that the economy can start growing, so that jobs can be created, and so that small businesses can flourish. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Vessels. We now proceed to the Deputy Minister of Small Business and Development. As I hand over now to Honorable Kasa to proceed with the debate. Thank you very much. The Honorable Deputy Minister for Small Business and Development.
Thank you very much, Chair. Usuku oluhle unyaka we-Africa. Ndiyabulela, ndiyabulisa. Honorable Chair, honorable members, ilizwe loMzantsi Afrika lonke kunye neAfrika ngokubanzi. Molweni, nimasiyari, sanibonani, goeiemorgen. I appreciate this opportunity to participate in this important budget. In fact, very important, vote number 36. This is indeed a platform and a space where we touch all lives of our people by ensuring that ubuncinane bonke abantu balapha eSouth Africa bayazi ukuba icandelo lezemali ngokuvunyelwa yilendlu yamalungu owisomthetho inike isiqamalini esingakanani kweli sebe lokuphuhliswa koosomashishini abancinane kwakunye nookopolotsheni nokuqinisekisa ukwakhiwa ngokutsha koqoqosho emva kwentlekele yeCOVID. Yonke ke le mininingwane sele eyinikile uMakhatsi njengomphathiswa wesebe. Ngenxa yexesha ke andisakuchitha xesha ndingene kwezo ngcombolo, ndiza kuqhubela phambili. For us as a department and all our agencies, we are committed more than ever before to reach to all our communities in our 9 provinces in this country. To also inform furthermore about our support and empowerment that the department is mandated to carry out. Chairperson and honorable members, a big challenge is that of not being able to be all over the country at the same time. And that creates an anomaly that some of our members in the society knows very well what we do, what we are mandated to do for them to grow, to thrive, and to feel free in their own country. However, those who know are able to advance, are able to apply, are able to phone, are able to actually email and be in touch with us. But a big number remains out of this space. Nditsho kuni ke bantwana basezifama, in farmlands, bantwana basezilalini, rural community, bantwana basezilokishini, kunzima kakhulu ukufumana ezi nkonzo, yaye kukwanzima nokuba khona kwendlela yokunxibelelana, that is the signals themselves are not available. So siyayixolisela loo nto, kodwa ke siqinisekile into yokubana unako uyenziwa ukuba nifikeleleke. Nali ke icebo esilithi thaca ngale njikalanga nethuba esilinikwe yile parliament. We will be able to be visiting the 9 provinces through all the districts and also to move in unison together with our agencies and our departments as well. Other departments that are doing similar work with that which we are doing. I'm very happy to actually acknowledge the fact that while I was listening to many debates about other departments, in order to understand their own departments, what they are doing towards assisting SMMEs and cooperatives, which is our mandate as small business development. I can actually quote one, not only him, who actually spoke about these SMMEs and cooperatives, but also to actually say Honorable Mpumza touched my heart when he actually went to town in his debate, in the COGTA debate, as well as Mama Nkosazana Zuma and Nkosazana Stella Ndabeni, when they were articulating how their departments in their budget are being provided for. I mean, the small businesses and the cooperatives. It encourages, because what we have been allocated today, that you, honorable members, are going to approve for us, we will be meeting together and have a bigger impact. He actually went to outline how situation is bad in Khayelitsha, how our own marginalized poor people who stay in the periphery of our cities and far-flung township and rural areas are not able to get licenses to actually run a spaza shop. And I think this matter will have to be debated further, because there is no clear reason why they can't get a trading permit, but they don't get it in any way. Wherever they are, they know they can actually support what I'm saying, that we have visited Khayelitsha, we have visited Mitchell's Plain. It is really, really difficult to have a spaza shop because of the trading permit. The minister has tried to address this, but I think we still need to dig down and be able to find a solution. The young people in rural areas suffer the same, because the land that is available to them is the rural land. We know the battles around the other percentage of land. I'm not debating that, but clearly, even the land that is under their feet, I mean, the women and the rural young people, they are not able to get assistance from a bank, from an agency, from any agency that wants to support them, NPO or NGO, because they need a certificate. We, I think, have attended a summit with the theme of Invest in Rural Areas, organized by the House of Traditional Leaders. But up to date, there's still a difficulty in ensuring that these young people that we want to assist can be able to get a certificate and then be able to participate like all South African youth in this country. I'm very thankful to the ANC that has given us an opportunity as members of parliament and also ministers and deputy ministers, by saying there is this public procurement, there is also the opportunity to have a 40% allocated to women, for 30% allocated to our youth, 10% to our people living with disabilities. I do want to say that opportunity has also been assisted by the Minister of Small Business Development coming up with the idea of localization. so that at least we bring home, we bring closer to each citizen's door the opportunity that they must exploit. To further actually say, this government, the one honorable member before me, really went to town showing this country how bad this government and how this government is capable of destroying what it has already created. Yes, but those in Khayelitsha, but those in Mitchell's Plain, many areas, far-flung areas in rural areas of Vredendal, all those are not singing such good songs as he does about the previous, where he belongs, where our people were exploited, where women were not able to sell in the street either fruit, their beer, or whatever. They were actually arrested, having committed a huge crime by trying to participate in the economic development of those days. Talking about cooperatives, indeed.
Liphelile ixesha mphathiswa. Ixesha lakho liphelile, Honorable Deputy Minister.
Ndiyabulela kakhulu, ndiyaleza nje nonwabe ngalomhla mkhulu. Enkosi.
Enkosi, Honorable Tring from ACDP.
Honorable House Chairperson, it is the conviction of the ACDP that small businesses are the lifeblood of any economy. If one considers the example of the largest economy of the world, the United States of America, over 99% of all businesses there are small businesses. Clearly, the solution to driving and reviving our economy lies in the small business sector. There are a number of reasons why the ACDP supports the establishment of small businesses. Well, they promote healthier communities in the sense that 60 to 70% of every rand spent stays within the community. Small businesses drive innovation, often producing more patents than large companies. Additionally, small businesses contribute to job growth as they seek to upscale and expand, and in the process contribute to the reduction of the unemployment rate, while most large companies are looking at downsizing or retrenching to improve profit margins. In considering this budget vote, the ACDP is cognizant of the mandate of this department, which is to lead and coordinate an integrated approach to the promotion and development of entrepreneurship, small business, and cooperatives, ensuring an enabling legislative and policy environment to support their growth and sustainability with a view to transform our economy, increase employment, and reduce poverty and inequality. Honorable House Chairperson, it is the view of the ACDP that for a sector as vitally important to the development, growth, and success of our economy, a departmental budget of 2.5 billion for the 21-22 financial year is hopelessly inadequate for this department to achieve its mandate. The ACDP welcomes the decision to merge the Small Enterprise Development Agency and the Small Enterprise Finance Agency and the NEF into a single entity. Operating in silos and duplicity is costly, wasteful, and a drain on the public purse, and must be avoided at all costs. This merger would require legislative and policy reconfiguration with a lead time of 36 months set to achieve this. The ACDP agrees with the report that this should not be achieved at the expense of service delivery and to the detriment of small businesses. The ACDP calls for the protection of our locally owned small businesses, such as spaza shops. While we welcome foreign-owned businesses and investment into the country, this must be done within the bounds of what is legal and in keeping with key legislation and policies. We cannot allow our locally owned small businesses to be crowded out by illegal foreign-owned businesses. This is a recipe for conflict, violence, and strife, and must be avoided at all costs. In conclusion, the enemies to small businesses are many and include corruption, fraud, nepotism, ineptitude, and mediocrity, all found within the ruling party. And unless dealt with, we'll see the closure of many more small businesses, and we cannot afford that. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can I now call upon Honorable Kwankwa of the UTM? Honorable Kwankwa. Honorable Kwankwa. Okay, let's move to the next speaker, Honorable Zungula of the ATM.
Thank you, Chair. South Africa has one of the highest unemployment rates in the world. Studies show that the future of employment and economic growth is dependent on SMMEs, particularly those based in township and rural dwelling, where 90% of new jobs can be created by 2030. South Africa's rise in unemployment, coupled with a lack of funding for township and rural-based SMMEs, is a disruption on the country's effort to progress towards an inclusive economy. Township and rural enterprises are diverse with a high rate of informality and provide a range of goods and services to meet the needs of township and rural communities. The entrance of big retailers like USave, Pick n Pay in the township economy must be rejected as it further impoverishes poor Black South Africans who trade in this sector for survival. The informal economy is neglected in our country. There is no interest to use this economy to reduce unemployment and poverty. We have a 43% unemployment rate, and all sectors of the economy are critical in addressing this problem. In Kenya, the informal economy accounts for 83% of the total employment, and their unemployment rate is less than 5%. South Africa must follow suit and utilize this sector of the economy as a means of creating mass economic participation of the citizens. The informal economy must be used as a catalyst to boost manufacturing and production of goods in South Africa. There must be strides to ensure products in all the shelves of informal traders are produced in South Africa and in the respective regions. This will ensure money circulates amongst the economies in those regions, and an economical ecosystem will be created where locals benefit from the economy. The department must look into the oppression South Africans are subjected to in this sector. Currently, South African traders are expected to comply with all bylaws, but non-South Africans freely trade in this sector without being legal in the country, without being registered, without employing South Africans, without paying taxes, and without investing the required 5 million rands. It can't be that these China malls are trading in cash and this cash leaves our country instead of being reinvested. In Limpopo, almost all hardware stores are owned by Pakistani who are funded by their governments to open businesses here. How can poor Black South Africans compete with people with government backing? Poor Black South Africans are not protected from being displaced in the economy. The department must work with all law enforcement agencies to ensure all laws in relation to small businesses are complied with. We can't allow South Africa to be a banana republic where people do as they please and the rule of law is ignored. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we now call on Honorable Tomelang from the African National Congress? Over to you, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. This day is of a very special significance to us as African people, as 57 years ago, the Organization of African Unity was brought to life. From its inception, this organization was dedicated to the fact that through the unity of African states, the continent could unlock its full potential as well as safeguard its independence. It is therefore not a coincidence that budget vote of 36 of Department of Small Business is held on Africa Day. It is one of the departments of our country that are driving the cause to building an inclusive economy in order to uplift the lives of the majority. House Chair, equally all the time when I'm given the opportunity to address our national movement, I remember the historic role played by the women warriors from Benin known as the Amazons of Dahomey. These fearless women took it to the battle line and fought against colonialism in all its manifestation. They played a crucial role to building a nation and defend its sovereignty at all costs. As we honor the Amazons of Dahomey and remember all our women warriors, let me take this opportunity to honor women who are street vendors, entrepreneurs, who on daily basis are committed to capacitate and grow the small, medium, micro enterprise and cooperative aims at all setback, stemming from racial, class, and gender struggle. Chairperson, let me also take the opportunity to recognize the light bearers of our revolution, the young people who do not fold their arms and wait for employment in the public and private sector, but young entrepreneurs who are hustlers, aims at all systematic change and the capitalist class has imposed, including but not limited to the redundant bureaucratic red tape. House Chair and South Africans, I would have done injustice if I did not recognize and affirm rural township and enterprise and the broader informal sector. These vital sectors provide the base in which many of our people get opportunities to participate in the economy. As the gallant titanic movement of African people, the African National Congress, we are cognizant to the fact that the National Democratic Revolution is posed with a great threat known as the dual economy. The concept of dual economy is premised on the fact that our economy is polarized into modern and traditional sectors. The struggle to reconcile the dual economy into economy, the people's economy remains a vital priority for African National Congress. To reconcile the dual economies, we have entrusted the Department of Small Business to be a catalyst that will lead to a transformed and inclusive economy driven by sustainable, innovative SMEs and cooperatives. The African National Congress is not trapped into a big and meaningless story without revolutionary mandate. To achieve our plan, the department established 4 key programs with focus on administration, sector and market development, finance, and enterprise. The township, rural, and informal businesses headed by women, young people, and persons with disability are paramount to the plans I've mentioned. For instance, the department, through its initiative known as Improve Informal Business Support, implemented by SIDA, is targeting to capacitate 9,276 plaza shop and 4,638 fruit and vegetable vendors situated in townships and rural areas in the medium-term expenditure framework for 2021-2022. With this initiative, the Department of Small Business Development through this entity, SIDA aims to have a far-reaching impact in rural areas and townships. These areas remain a point of concern for department as rural areas in particular struggle to access the department offerings. The department aims to alleviate this by working closely with municipalities in implementing of the district development model by localizing services of its agency, SIFA and SIDA. The qualitative aspects of the department work is evident on the fact that through the key programs I've mentioned, Small Enterprise Development Agency will facilitate, amongst others, the establishment of 27 new incubators, mainly in townships and rural areas, established 1,290 new enterprise through incubation, create over 25,000 new jobs and sustain 86,000 jobs within the SMEs ecosystem partners. The program of the department are not only focusing on traditional mechanism of business, but the African National Congress is cognizant of the fact that various technological advancements and revolutions are taking place in all sectors of the economy. As the president succinctly put it in his State of the Nation address, SONA, the African National Congress-led government is also fast-tracking reforms in the telecommunication sector that will see the allocation of high demand spectrum. This will speed up the rollout of 5G, enhancement the country's economic competitiveness, lower data cost, and boost the operation of SMEs, cooperatives, as well as small and large firms. The department is supporting SMEs to participate in manufacturing value by targeting products to be manufactured by both of the domestic market for export. This will be done in accordance with the 7 priorities in the medium-term strategic framework known as mainstream of youth, women, and persons with disability, with minimum 40% target for women, 30% for youth, 7% for persons with disability in the SMEs and cooperative sector. This will also in line with the African National Congress plan on reindustrialization and localization. Honorable Chairperson, let me remind the House that we need to support this budget on the basis that it is crucial in closing the gap between the dual economy and creating new role players in the economy and capacitate women, youth, and persons with disability. If we do not realize the significant task before us, we will be turning a blind eye on that the former President Thabo Mbeki gave our nation in June 2008 when he said, I quote, "The immediate reality task is all of us that the poor who are looking at the gate. If this gate does not open because we will have the key, otherwise involved in the masses will break down the gate. Close quote. Honorable Chairperson and South African, let us open the doors while our people are still cordial with us. The Chairperson, the committee recommends that the House adopt the budget vote report of 36 of small business development. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we now call on Honorable Sheikh Imam of the NFP?
Thank you very much,
Honorable
House
Sheikh
Chairperson.
Imam.
Thank you very much, House Chairperson. I think you can hear me now. The National Freedom Party will support the budget vote. National Freedom Party will support the budget vote tabled here today. Now, I do hear some of my colleagues talking about foreign businesses in the country. And I think the question we need to ask, how is it that foreign businesses in South Africa, particularly in the informal sector, are so successful and local businesses in South Africa are not successful? And one needs to ask, but let us be mindful of the fact that foreigners in this country make a lot of sacrifices as well. You know, they virtually sleep in their businesses. They open very early hours in the morning. They work till late hours. So these are some of the important things that we must not actually forget. Now, we all know that if you want to boost the economy, then of course you need to touch on small business and the SMEs. There is no doubt about it, and I think the Deputy Minister has alluded to the fact that there is a problem or a challenge in terms of securing funding, in terms of the red tape that exists, particularly for small businesses. And if these people that want to apply for this funding have what is required and the requirements as put by financial institutions, then clearly they don't even need this financial institution. But over and above that, if you want to enhance the local manufacturing industry and also enhance the small and medium enterprises, then you're going to have to deal with the issue of the cheap imports that's coming into the country. But let me go one step further. It's not just the cheap imports that's coming. Countries like China give their suppliers and producers and manufacturers incentives in their countries to export that stuff to South Africa. So number one, it comes here as cheap goods. And secondly, the problem you're sitting with is they pay your laborers just 60 Rand a day. Look at the stringent labor conditions you've got for local businesses compared to what the foreigners are doing in the country. So I think we need to be mindful of all these things. I mean, almost everything in this country, Chairperson, is imported. Even your PPEs are being imported, your textiles, your leather goods, your plastic, everything is being imported. So how are you leveling the playing field in giving the small businesses an opportunity to thrive in South Africa? So I think we need a more holistic approach to these things. I think you're looking at me because my time is up, Chairperson. If it is, thank you very much. The National Freedom Party will support the budget vote.
Thank you very much. Can we now call upon Honorable April from the ANC?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Gone are the days when African people were subjected to be producers of wealth. They produced this wealth not only for their own benefit, but for its appropriation by the white population. And they were permitted to consume some of the wealth in proportion, which will give them maximum amount of work on a continuing basis. In a nutshell, Honorable Chairperson, what I'm saying is gone are the days when Black people were slaves in their own land. Today, Black people are participating in the economy through SMME and cooperatives, small and big firms. The hardest task to create the new role players in the economy has been strategically placed in the capable hands of the Department of Small Business Development. In executing its mandate, which includes, but is not limited to, lead and coordinate an integrated approach to the promotion and development of entrepreneurship, SMMEs, and cooperatives, and to ensure an enabling legislative and policy environment to support their growth and sustainability. On a daily basis, the department executes its mandate with great challenges, which includes the fact that the department is operating on a startup structure. This calls for the need of the department's organizational structure to be given primacy, as the minister has already started talks with the Minister of Public Service and Administration in resolving the foundational basis of the department. Chairperson, as you are aware that in our country, colonialism of a special type was enhanced through legislation and ultimately our jurisprudence. The ANC aims to redress the legacy of colonialism and apartheid of a special type through legislative mechanism. This means that the department has a task to play in a significant role in enhancing policies that will enable the environment that is suitable for an inclusive economic framework. In doing this, the department plans to undertake comprehensive amendments to the National Small Enterprise Act. The progressive amendments will focus on the need to establish the Small Enterprise Ombudsman Service, deal with the unfair business practices, and review the definition of SMMEs to ensure uniformity, fairness, and provide one single definition. It is a known fact that societal changes have an impact in the nature and framework of existing institutions. There are current developments in the SME and cooperative space we are aware of. There are many informal businesses that exist, and as a result, they are unlicensed, while some are owned by foreign nationals. This calls for the need to align the Business Act of 1991 with the current societal changes. The current legislative framework with regards to the agencies of the department also needs to be aligned with the current realities. Take, for instance, the difference in the legal framework between the two agencies established to perform exclusive tasks of the department, known as SIDA and SIFA. SIFA is incorporated as an entity in terms of the Companies Act of 2008 and Section 3D of the Industrial Development Corporation Act of 1940, and thus is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Industrial Development Corporation, which is the IDC, while SIDA, on the other hand, is a Schedule 3A entity. The Public Finance Management Act has no provision that deals with subsidiaries as a corporate separate from the parent entities. In terms of the PFMA, the Minister of Small Business is not legally the executive authority, and therefore her ability to exercise oversight responsibility over the agency as prescribed in the PFMA is lessened. Chair, the ANC supports the decision by Cabinet to amalgamate the two entities into one to ensure delivery of integrated businesses development services to small businesses. We will ensure that the amalgamation process does not hinder service delivery, and ultimately that one entity that will be created will offer both financial and non-financial support to small businesses and cooperatives. Chair, it is important to highlight some of the magnificent achievements of the department and the entities. Program 1 of SIDA is titled Township, Rural, and Informal Business. Through this program, the department has an objective to promote entrepreneurship and provide targeted support to township and rural-based SMMEs and cooperatives to be competitive and create decent jobs. Through this program, the number of SMMEs and cooperatives reached through the department's entrepreneurship awareness sessions amounted to 37,104 in the current financial year. When we capacitate and support SMMEs and cooperatives, we are also facilitating critical job creation in this sector. The process of facilitation of job creation is dialectically related to skills development and localization. The department is looking forward to supporting 2,500 SMMEs and cooperatives to be competitive in the local markets. Honorable Chair, during the current financial year, SIFA is allocated 247 million. The MTEF funding is used by SIFA to fund some of its operational expenditures and may be used to lend SMMEs and cooperatives. This is done on the basis that we know that capital injection is a prerequisite to most SMMEs and cooperatives to keep them afloat through difficult financial times. Chair, when the African National Congress works to improve the lives of our people, it is guided by the values of SIFA, which includes, but are not limited to, we act with urgency. Chairperson, on this day that we call African Day, it is funny we find Europeans wishing us a happy Africa Day while they forget that we have given them the warmth of Ubuntu, and they came into our country, stole our land and our resources, and have the audacity to call us names. Cape Town, where the majority of colored people are living, these colored people are excluded from the mainstream of the economy by this so-called Kamerstage goeie government. There is no good government in Cape Town, and it should be noted that the suffering of people in Mitchell's Plain, the suffering on people of Regel Park, the suffering of people in Eldos is noted. And that's why the DA got a beating by colored people. They are losing in all these areas because they have never delivered anything. Our people's eyes are open, and in this coming election, they will show the DA that the ANC remains the only hope for our people. I thank you. We support the budget vote.
Thank you very much. Honorable Hendricks from Al Jama, over to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chair. Honorable House Chair, Al Jama supports the budget vote for small business. While small business got a challenging budget, it is set to do the most over the next few years. The 1 million jobs, Honorable House Chair, will be created. We have a minister in the presidency. She whispers in the ears of the president and looks the finance minister in the eye. So money will come into the small business development budget. The department moved from just getting finance to giving hybrid finance, which includes a non-repayable grant. On the radar, if Al Jama gets its way, is interest-free microloans like in Indonesia, where 4 million women are funded, and repayment is 99%. They don't give loans to men; they don't pay back well. In my constituency, Zakah, a charity tax is paid, running into millions. I want some of that money that belongs to the poor to introduce interest-free microfinance at our constituency parliamentary office. That 5 municipalities boasted about earlier will be the worst nightmare for small business. We took away their business license, their right to give business licenses. And the small business department will now issue licenses. You see, those 5 municipalities don't want trading areas near white areas where the money is. So trading spaces is far from the foot traffic. Rylands, micro traders, Gatesville are harassed because of this license oppression. Like Gaza, if they're under occupation. A day with the deputy minister in Mitchell's Plain, our constituency parliamentary office got 20 business opportunities just in one day. While we were at it, we got a boat for Mapami village, rural area near Umtata. The president asked us to assist rural villages. The minister lobbied, the deputy minister implements, and the chair of our portfolio keeps everything together. We now have a permanent director general. I think there is a sense of excitement in South Africa with this dynamic team that we have in business, small business development. Al Jama supports the budget. Honorable House Chair.
Thank you very much. Can I now call upon Honorable Kruger of the DA? Honorable Kruger.
Thank you, Chair. It's an honor to serve the business community in South Africa. Unfortunately, it is hell to do so under the ANC government. They don't get things done. The constant mere lip service on the part of the president and his cabinet on the importance of SMMEs as the engine room of this economy has transformed our small businesses into limping stepchildren of government. This is evident if we examine the budget. Maybe the Minister of Finance, in his self-proclaimed yet misguided wisdom, thinks that the Department of Small Business needs a small budget. Year after year, we must witness the decline of the ease of doing business for entrepreneurs, both old and young. Red tape is slowly but surely wiping out the business community. The department, SIDA and SIFA are examples of a highly unfriendly business environment. The handling of the support to the small business community during the hard lockdown and the period after that is atrocious. From start to finish, there was no leadership from the minister, and they executed the process on a trial and error basis, all to the disadvantage of small businesses. The process was a textbook case of burdensome bureaucracy and the administrative burdens. Rural and informal businesses were hit the hardest by the irrational decisions of the National Coronavirus Communist Command Center during lockdown. Chair, if you study the budget, you will understand that there is no light at the end of the tunnel for small businesses. This ANC government is moving towards a disabled business environment because of the after effects of the pandemic, the 3 decades of unnecessary regulatory burdens have hindered the starting and running of small businesses, and subsequently also hindered economic growth and creations of jobs. Policy uncertainties and the reluctance to challenge the red tape problem has resulted in tragedy and embarrassment from which there may be no return. Chris Darren of SBP once said that red tape is a symptom of failing regulatory governance and broken systems of the administration's capacity in service delivery. Chairperson, you will agree with me that this shoe fits the ANC government 100%. A DA government will create capacity to measure, control, and reduce the impact of regulatory measures on business and ensure the due consideration of multiple options by organs of state to achieve the objectives of the government, measure and reduce red tape and the cost associated with red tape when conducting business in the Republic of South Africa on all levels of government, and create a business-friendly government. Hence the importance of the Ease of Doing Business Bill that seeks to provide for the establishment of an administrative unit to assist the executive, members of parliament, committees of the houses, and self-regulatory bodies. The bill also seeks to assist business in overcoming red tape and other counterproductive challenges in the business environment. If the President is serious about the survival of our small business community, he will convince his cabinet to work with the DA to make this bill a reality and reallocate the Ministry of Small Business to his office to the benefit of entrepreneurs. Mr. President, please save our small businesses by helping bureaucracy to step aside and let business do what they do best and create jobs. Chairperson, it's inspiring to be alive in the season of change. Change is a reality, and the business community needs change now. Thank you, Chair.
Very much. Can we now call upon Honorable Jacobs of the ANC?
Thank you, Chair. I greet you today on this Africa Day and dedicate this speech to the spirit of solidarity with our Palestinian brothers and sisters. Africa Day symbolized the strength of our continent and its resolute actions that contributed to our freedom and our development. This Africa Day, we call on our government and peoples of Africa to stand united and in firm solidarity with the people of Palestine. Honorable House Chair, allow me to take the House to Amilcar Cabral's text when he said, and I quote, "Always bear in mind that people are not fighting for ideas, for the things in anyone's head. They're fighting to win material benefit, to live better and in peace, to see their children live, go forward, to guarantee the future of our children." Cabral's assertion stems from the universal truth that above anything else, we human beings need material benefit such as food, water, shelter, and land to survive. The ANC is implementing Cabral's words by building a developmental capacitated state. And this department is there not to, in terms of ideas in heads, but it's also a beacon of hope for new players in our economy, including women, young people, people with disability, township and rural communities. It is through this department that today many township restaurants, rural areas have attracted tourists and South Africans from affluent suburbs to spend their holidays and weekends in our townships. Honorable Speaker, the real Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency President Ramaphosa, in the SONA address, encouraged us to prioritize localization in order to support the implementation of the country's economic reconstruction and recovery plan. Honorable Chair, we are not claiming easy victories or not telling lies as warned by Cabral in the aforesaid text. Take, for instance, the construction that is underway in the Tshwane Automotive Special Economic Zone. The project has created several jobs, training and development for both communities and SMMEs in this region. 32 out of 34 target infrastructure work packages have been reserved for local SMMEs to the value of 170 million. The reality that many SMMEs face necessitates a supportive, well-oiled financial infrastructure that is characterized by sustainable, viable, and significant improvements to access to capital for SMMEs and cooperatives. Honorable Chair, our SMMEs and cooperatives support extends beyond money to social capital, social relations, including mentoring, developing, nurturing, supporting, and promoting small business, and harmonizing this with other stakeholders. The African National Congress advanced the agenda of economic freedom for our SMMEs so that our people can be independent, produce our own goods, participate in the mainstream of our economy, and compete with both local and international markets. Honorable Chair, most of the leading and big corporates in the global market started out as SMMEs. Therefore, the ANC government prioritized SMME work as a critical path to build inclusive economy. We salute the excellent work done by our minister and our team for turning this goal into reality. Local is lekker. We say buy South Africa, buy local. We're glad that this is not negotiable, Minister. We appreciate the commitment to see and support small business and informal traders. We welcome the commitment of big business to lend a hand to small business. We appreciate the target of 15,000 youth entrepreneurs by 2024, and the She Trade platform will go a long way to create a gender empowerment. Honorable de Villiers, whilst the DA can only blame and complain, we are delivering. This department is doing more with less. He forgets to mention that Invest SA from DTI has its office in Cape Town, and that the tech industry in Cape Town is supported by our national government and DTI. The DA only cares for and maintains white privilege. Ask any informal trader in Gatesville, in Mitchells Plain, who gets constantly harassed instead of supported by the DA City of Cape Town. Our township economies are dying under the DA administration here in Cape Town. There's no dedicated, broad-based Black economic empowerment, procurement policies. Black businesses are struggling to be service providers in DA-run municipalities. Don't get me started on water. Many of our people on the Cape Flats suffer from the unconstitutional water drip system that we have to endure under this DA administration. They don't care. Just look how he treats the homeless, the informal traders, and the poor. But we know change is coming in Cape Town and indeed across the Western Cape. Cape Townians are looking forward to be part of a renewed and united ANC, and we welcome everybody into the ANC family. Honorable Wessels, your negativity and doomsaying will fail. Your continued fear-mongering will fail. Your commitment to narrow white economic empowerment will fail. Your negative narrative does not speak to us as South Africans. We acknowledge our mistakes and remain committed to our challenges. We choose to remain hopeful. We, the majority of South Africans, believe tomorrow will be better than yesterday because we are doing something today. Our people are resilient. We are brokers of hope. We are problem solvers, and we will continue to bring our people and our communities together. Honorable Tring, we support your call for increased budget, the need for integration, avoid duplication, and the need for South African-driven and owned business. We share and assure you of our commitment to ethical and professional leadership. Minister, we can assure you of our continued support. The task has been tough, but you have acquitted yourself well. Let me reiterate the words of Cabral, and I quote, "Hide nothing from our masses, tell no lies, expose lies whenever they are told, mask no difficulty, mistakes, failures, and claim no easy victories." I thank you. The ANC supports this budget vote.
Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, Honorable Minister, I'm told you only have 3 minutes. Can I now call upon the Honorable Minister of Small Business Development? Over to you, Minister.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I think my colleagues and comrades, Honorable Hein April and Honorable Faiz Jacobs, have clarified the position of the DA. The DA knows nothing about equality, knows nothing about service delivery, except protection of white minority privileges. And that's why even the recent scandal of their qualifications, Black people were still treated unfairly, whereas whites are protected when they misrepresent their qualifications equally. And therefore, the DA must first put its house in order. South Africans have woken up to the fact that the DA serves nobody except the protection of the white minority in this country, and we will not let it go. We will not let you frustrate us. I think Honorable Matulelo, we are not playing marbles, and we are not in hallucinations. We are running a government. No matter how much you repeat the lies will remain lies. They will not change at all. We were audited in terms of our work that we have done around the SMME COVID relief support. And in that work, the Mvesande trading that you refer about, they were approved for that support, but they needed to comply because the requirements for the drawdown, they needed to comply by a cutoff date of the 31st of July, and they didn't comply. They are on the list of the approved, but they are not on the list of the ones whose funds were distributed to. So, and there were no families of the minister or families of the deputy minister that benefited from the COVID relief funds. And no matter how much you repeat it, it will not make true. But I don't worry about your party, because you are not going to be here by 2024 post the elections. The ANC is still going to be here. The ANC will continue to govern. And indeed, Honorable Thring, we appreciate that you're raising the issue around the budget. We agree it's not sufficient, but when the priorities is between saving lives and saving livelihoods, we needed to concede that we must prioritize the saving of lives as we work to rebuild the livelihoods. Our responsibility as a government, and those assigned the responsibility of serving in the executive, is to make sure that the minimal resources that we have can go a little further. Like Pareto has taught us to say, get 80% of your output from 20% of your input, and that is what is good leadership and optimizing of resources. And we thank you for supporting our budget. We thank the IFP for supporting our budget, Al-Jamaa and the NFP for supporting our budget. The issues you have raised around the matters of how do we make sure that we continue to serve South Africans, and that South Africans are not fairly treated because of the need to comply, which was also raised by the ATM. It's why we continue to work, and now we are bringing, as raised by Honorable Hein April, the realignment of the Businesses Act of 1991 to make sure that it responds to the material conditions. But Honorable Zungula, the continued informalization of businesses in townships and rural areas is the act of those who sought to exclude us from the mainstream of the economy, is the act of colonizers when they want to minimize our role. And therefore, the work that we have commenced in 2019 of formalizing majority of our businesses to become formal and contributors into the economy will also protect them from unfair competition of those who are in the country illegally. We must also note that it's not all foreign nationals who are in the country illegally and are not allowed to trade, but we accept the responsibility that we must work with the Department of Home Affairs and Department of Employment and Labor to make sure that those who do business in the country, and DTIC, those who do business in the countries are duly authorized and certified to do business in the country and not offer unfair competition to the people of our country. And indeed, this year we mark 150 years of celebrating the legacy of Mam Charlotte Maxeke, and we dedicate our work to the decade of the women of Africa, making sure that they participate in the mainstream economy of this continent as we seek to rebuild the continent and reassert the firm position of Africa as not only the next place of development, but as where development and the leadership of the world is going to come from. The work that we continue to do is very important because
Your time is up,
are going to be the drivers of the future of growth of this country and this continent. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much. That the visual mini plenary session. The mini plenary will now rise. Thank you very much.
Viva Mbokodo.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Minister, hey, you get with them. Wonderful.
Recording stopped.